Hello, welcome to Q&O for Christianity. My name is Graham. I make these videos so that you can have a starting point to learn things about Christianity, about God, and to help find your way to Him. Very simple. This first question is, what about the person who has the attitude, I just hope God's forgiving? You acknowledge your sin, you acknowledge the fact you're a sinner, you acknowledge the fact that you need forgiveness, but you're just kind of hoping it all works out in the end. This is a very dangerous place to be sitting from a biblical standpoint. I agree with what other people have said in that I would consider that individual to be awakened but not alarmed. In other words, you have the acknowledgement, you're coming, you may not realize it, but you've come to a very interesting place of truth, but you only have so much truth. You have the sin side of it, you don't have the God side of it. God is forgiving. This links into my other video that I did. And click above this video, there's Against the Wind 100, and you'll come to my channel and it'll have everything on it. If you're not already on my channel. God is very forgiving. It says His grace is from everlasting to everlasting. We have to, but the only way you get that is you have to repent. In other words, you have to start, stop living life as if God isn't there and as if sin isn't real. You have to make an attempt to call out to God and seek His forgiveness and ask for His help. The other question I would pose to you, I'm reading from something. If you died right now, where would you go? This is important because you have to, if you can acknowledge that you are in fact going to hell, I ask you, does it concern you? If it does concern you, I'm going to ask you, what are you going to do? God demands that you, because He loves you so much, His love actually pushes Him, that He demands and commands you to repent. Repenting means to turn away from one thing towards God. So if you really feel that convicted about sin, you really need to turn from that mindset, acknowledge it, which is great, and turn to God and say, God, here's the list, and confess it to Him, and say, I need your forgiveness, and I need you to come into my life, and I need you to help Him. And I would then say, study who Jesus was. Jesus, even though it was 2,000 years ago, applies directly to your life today. Died on the cross in your place, taking your punishment. That is crucial. You look into that. LeeStrobel.com has some fabulous stuff, as well as my videos are good as well. I will acknowledge my videos. I'm not going to forsake the assembly of myself. The next thing, is if it doesn't concern you, or you have to understand you're of incredible value. God doesn't want to lose you. In fact, He actually asked the question, why perish? So with that, I could really just keep going about how valuable, the usefulness, if God were to get a hold of you, what He could do for you. To think about that for a little bit. What if God did enter my life and went to use me? He could really pull some stunts off, and it would surprise you too. And you would actually be humbled before Him because of how He's using you. You'd know it's Him and not you. No one else would. But that's important. So you have incredible value. I also want to bring up the unhappy topic. Those who do not repent. Just because you acknowledge that you have sinned doesn't mean you're going to heaven. You have to acknowledge and then use that acknowledgement to spurn you and repent towards God. You have to ask for forgiveness and start building a relationship with Him through Jesus Christ. Once again, it always comes back to Jesus. If you do not do that, you're sitting in what's called the Valley of Decision, and the day of the Lord is near in the Valley of Decision. It means this: judgment's near you. If you acknowledge you have sin and you still refuse to repent, God is going to have to send you out of his presence. You're not in his presence yet. You need to repent and ask him to bring you into his presence. If you don't do that, you're still detached from him. You're going to hell. It's not a happy thought. I got family that have gone there. Regardless, this is the solid truth. And I would really... You need to understand that. I'm going to next go over the biblical description of hell. This is never a fun thing to talk on, and very few people will. The biblical definition of hell is, for one, you were made to be with God. You do not function away from him. It's like putting a car in an empty lot. Eventually it's just going to rust and fall apart. Hell is just very simple. People who want to be in the center of their own world, God gives you that when you die. And you will be in the center of your own world. Here's the thing. The world belongs to God. So you will not have the world. You will not have God. Hell is going to be excruciating. There are different varying degrees depending on who you are. God is righteous. Nonetheless, it's all eternal. This purgatory thing that Catholicism made up, it's not in the Bible. You will not find it in scriptures. You can do a study on it till the cows come home. There's no purgatory. Hell is eternal. It's not like you're in there for a little time out. It's conscious suffering. It's not like you're floating and you are not consciously aware of where you are and what's going on. You are going to be aware. When Christ has his second coming, you raise from the dead. Everybody gets a new body. The problem is you're in hell, so now your pain is literally a physical, eternal pain as well as just the spiritual torment. This is not a fun thing. This goes on forever. I really want you to think about all the suffering you could ever suffer in this world. It's going to be like living in a closet. Eternity is a real long time. You don't want to go to hell. I can keep going. I don't really feel a need for it. So with that, I really want to caution you that you don't have the promise of tomorrow. I don't want to use hell to frighten you towards God, but it is something that really should frighten you towards God. The fact that you could become so lost that you wind up in a place like that where God is forced to let you go into a place like that. Not a good thing. And I really plead you to come to your senses a little bit with that. If I've touched a whole bunch of buttons, so I want it to be more redemptive than this, that you have to understand Jesus paid your penalty. Nobody really should be going to hell right now in this day and age. No matter how bad you are, no matter how wicked you are, no matter who's hurt you, who hasn't hurt you, who you love, who you don't, no one should be going to hell. Jesus died for everybody. People go to hell because they refuse to acknowledge what he did and refuse to accept the gift of grace and submit to him and his rule over their lives so that he can pour out his grace and his kingdom and his love into you. Apart from that, I encourage you to look into my other videos. That was a tough one, but truth hurts. So if you feel at all pricked, check out my testimony or check out, What Now God for more elaboration on this, or What Now God Part 2, which talks about. So if you're in this video and you have repented, you go to What Now God Part 2 and it really tells you the next steps and makes you aware of some of the promises that you are now able to receive and have, so on and so forth. All right. God bless you and peace of Christ.